Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Dur Red HOA RH. This is a hold-open bracket for a right-hand ladder or stair access type of roof hatch that they're going to have. I don't know all of the different models that they would apply this to, and it's really because they don't necessarily publish where all these hold-open arms, this hold-open arm is used. But I can tell you it's used on a normal stair hatch that's made of galvanized, a steel galvanized unit. And this is what it looks like. There is not much included with this because there's not much to this, in fact. This is what the unit would look like when it is in the closed position, at least with the bracket that would be included to mount it to the lid. Okay. So what happens is this is going to mount to the sidewall at this point. This bracket's going to mount it to the lid, and as the lid obviously opens, it's going to articulate to that sort of movement, while it's, of course, then coming out as the entire arm is flipping up from this sort of orientation, right, to this sort of orientation. The weight of the lid naturally is pushing down on this stop that's here. And you can, of course, pull that down to get the lid to come back down and closed. It's always helpful to see a photograph. There is a photograph of one down below that shows it in a condition, a customer-supplied photo, shows it in a condition that where it's been disabled and removed, disconnected from the lid. That photograph shows an unapproved type of modification to the unit, just since we're talking about a particular photograph that's there. This is the one that will have a operator on it, and what I know about that operator is that it's been modified with an electric actuator from a specific company, and that the hold-open arm and lift springs were broken probably as a result of that modification, or damaged from use of the actuator itself, and that the Dur Red units were never engineered or designed to work with that sort of scenario with an actuator. So being mindful of that, let's continue on with a review of this unit. So what we have is this hold-open arm, and this video will serve as visual evidence of the item and dimensional evidence of the item. Because, as I said earlier, made of steel. As I said earlier, I don't know all the units that this will work on. However, this video is certainly going to help you determine if this item is accurate for your application, just based on the dimensions, I suppose. And overall length, when it's in the fully extended position, appears to be about 17 1/4. 1 inch. Well, about 3/16. So now, center to center of the mounting points when it's in the open position appear to be basically about 16 1/4 or so. Well, 16 1/2. The dimension from the pivoting point to the lid, the center line, it looks like it's about 6 3/8. And then from the sidewall, appears to be about 9 3/4. Okay. Now that bracket that's going to go to the lid, overall width, about 1 inch and 5/16. Overall, about 3 7/8 into the center line. Looks like it's about 3 1/4 inch. With a height of about 2 7/8. Not many bolts included because there's not many required. A couple of self-drilling screws to get this down to the lid. Okay. You're going to get a nut, bolt, and washer for connecting has to go like this. Our lid, okay, for this connection. Then there'll be a bolt and washer for this going to the sidewall, and hopefully you have a bolt that's there for you to get to. Getting behind the sidewall obviously is probably going to be a challenge depending on the underside roof construction. So this video is to serve as visual, dimensional evidence of the item. Hopefully that's adequate to determine whether or not this is correct. If it is correct, great. If it's not, then here's what you do. Take photographs of everything on the roof hatch and send them to us. Email them all to us. We will contact the manufacturer, who is incredibly responsive and very much, I believe, interested in helping determine, identify, supply the parts so that you can continue to get useful service out of the significant investment in a roof hatch, regardless of what variant it is. You want to keep those working properly, working code compliant naturally. You're up on a ladder, you're up on stairs, who knows how many feet up in the air. And to have something like that not controlled is just not smart and safe whatsoever. People call and say, yeah, I got to replace the entire roof hatch. Well, the shock or the lifting mechanism or the pressure intensifier is gone. Well, a roof hatch isn't very expensive, but the problem is it's the labor to cut one out and put one in. If you've got one that's installed and your roof is not leaking, you don't want to, in my opinion, seek any way to change that. So let us help you with parts because I believe that that would be the easiest way to go about getting one. And really the only time that we're unable to source parts is if something is incredibly old and discontinued and the manufacturer is completely unknown. Or it's when someone is manufacturing their own roof hatch and looking to ask if these parts will work and fit. The answer is we don't know. It's not been engineered. It's not been designed or tested. Dimensions for where to locate everything are unknown. So it is a bit of guesswork when it comes to that sort of scenario. If you have any questions, and this is a right hand, by the way, and that is determined because this is, when you're viewing this video, hold the phone. This is because this is shown, this is the way it's supposed to work. When you're on the roof looking at the roof hatch and it's open, this is on the right-hand side, just as it does appear when you're viewing this video. Okay, this will be on the right-hand side. And the customer-supplied photo that we have here, that is indeed installed on the right-hand side. And the picture doesn't show all of the pressure intensifiers that are there, but shows the aluminum telescoping tubes. Doesn't show all of that. There's probably a couple that are not shown. I'm sure that there's a couple that are not shown in the unit at all. Any questions on the Dur Red HOA for a right-hand installation or any other Dur Red product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.